Okay, this video is about exponential tables and how do we create exponential equations to match these tables. So all of our answers throughout this video are going to be equations in the form y equals a times b to the x, where a is going to be our y-intercept and b is going to be our common ratio. So let's look at our first example. We have this table. We want to make an equation. So we need y equals. The first number we always need is our y-intercept. And to find our y-intercept, we find the 0 on our input and look at what the output is. So it is 10, so that is our y-intercept. Now to find our common ratio, we're looking at our output side of the table and trying to find our pattern. Because these are exponential tables, our pattern is always going to be multiplying or it is going to be dividing. So we just have to figure out what are these tables multiplying by or dividing by. Well, 2 to 10, these numbers are getting bigger, so I know it's going to be multiplication. And 2 times 5 makes 10. 10 times 5 makes 50, and 50 times 5 makes 250. So my common ratio is 5. So we put our multiplication symbol and we go 5 to the x power. What I would like you to do now is pause the video and try this problem or this next table on your own and then restart the video to see if you had the correct answer. Hopefully you got y equals 3 times 2 to the power x. Let's look at another example that's slightly different. Again, we need y equals, and then we're going to have our y-intercept, and we find that by looking across from 0. So our y-intercept is 2/3. Now we're looking at the output side of our table and trying to find our pattern. Again, it's either going to be multiplication or division because these are exponential tables. Well, our table at the top started with 18 and went down to 6 and then down to 2. So since these numbers are getting smaller, I know it's going to be division. And now I just need to find out, well, what did we divide by? 18 divided by 3 makes 6. 6 divided by 3 makes 2. And 2 divided by 3 makes 2/3. So our common ratio is dividing by 3. So in our equation, we can either write divide by 3 to the power x, or we could make our common ratio into the fraction 1/3 to the power x. Either of those answers would be acceptable. Again, please pause the video and try this next problem on your own. Hopefully you got the answer. Y equals 252 divided by 6 to the power x, or y equals 252 times 1/6 to the power x. Let's look at just one more example. Again, our equation needs to start with y equals. But when we look at our table, we don't have an input of 0. So to find our y-intercept, we need to extend our table so that we can figure out what our y-intercept is. Well, if I look at these inputs, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, if this table were extended, would be at the top. So I'm going to put it right there. So I need to figure out what is the output that I need to keep the pattern the same. So let's find the pattern of our table. My numbers are getting bigger, so I know it's multiplying. And if I do the calculations, I can figure out that the pattern is multiplying by 6. So I just need to figure out what needs to go at the top of my table to keep this pattern consistent. Well, if I put a 6 here, 6 times 6 is going to make this 36. So I know that my y-intercept is going to be 6, and my common ratio is 6. So my answer is y equals 6 times 6 to the power x. Again, please pause the video and try this one last you try question. And there is your possible answer for this last example question.